This your boy Dame Dozha, 90.5, the Flavor Station, Florida A&M Homecoming 2019, DJ Zoe Crazy, FAMU, I'm coming home. I'm sitting here with a FAMU alum, Mr. Kellen Nixon of Nixon Co Consulting Group. All right, so as we start, give us a little brief information about what you do. I know you have a lot of history in nonprofits, so let's get into that.
Yeah, so 13 years in the nonprofit space. Started my career through Orlando Science Center, so close to the crib. Really didn't think I would make a 13-year career out of it, but once I got into the museum space and really saw, purpose in the work and saw how, my particular skill set could help advance museums, I really kind of took it serious. So spent about 6.5 years in Orlando at that science center. I moved to lead the development efforts at the Museum of Science and Industry in Tampa. And right before launching Nixon Company, moved to Charlotte to run Bank of America's STEM Center for Career Development, which was a teacher training outfit really focused on culturally relevant pedagogy and emerging technologies that K-12 students were in need of. So yeah, that's really been my background. And now in the Nixon Company space, really working with nonprofits to build stronger relationships in communities, something that FAMU really taught me. I can give FAM a great deal of credit for that, just understanding the need for us to be engaged and have a space in the museum sector. So
right, and the network that FAMU was able to give us is a blessing that just keeps on giving, man, generations after generation. Let's talk about coming out of high school. Was FAMU always your first choice? What made you decide to go to a HBCU?
Yeah, so honestly, man, I had a great deal of influence from my family because I had aunts, cousins, as well as my mom who attended FAM. So there was always an influence in the household about the value of going to an HBCU. I think a bigger influence on me was, actually coming out of my 11th grade year playing sports. Ended up breaking my ankle in the middle of the season, and that shifted my trajectory. It began to allow me to think more about life after sports. And when I did that, that's where the FAMU conversations really kind of rose to the top, that I needed an education, not just, an athletic experience in college.
Yeah.
So, that was really my reason for the decision, and it was the best decision I made, bro.
All right. So at one point, did you hone in into the major, or you were a little rocky when you first came in? When did you get around to the decision making of deciding that your major was the one for you?
So the crazy thing, bro, is like I didn't even decide. I have a very unique story. I was a computer information systems major, CIS, and went into class. I took discrete structures a couple times, didn't pass that class, and had a professor by the name of Dr. Muhammad. I came into the class for a test one day, and she basically pulled me to the side and told me, "Hey, no need to take the test. And on top of that, I've basically withdrew you out of the program." So it was a little bit of a shock. And, my junior year, actually going into my junior year thinking, man, like this is the worst thing that can happen. It was actually a blessing in disguise because she then introduced me to Dr. Paul, who was over the program that I ended up graduating out of, which was public management. And I struggled, bro. I mean, when I tell you I struggled academically in the beginning, but the moment I got into public management, Dean's List really, 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 really excelled. So it wasn't my decision. And I think that's sometimes the beauty of going to a historically black college or university, is that you have people that almost serve as your parents. They have that parental element to them, right?
Great guidance, great community of black culture,
Absolutely,
of people that could step in and just guide you the right way. Any other influencers that you remember?
Oh man, I would be remiss not to shout out, or not. I mean, there's definitely a lot of folks to give credit to, man. Joe Briggs, guy from Polk County, grew up in the same city. Really took me under his wing, started a recruitment program back in Polk County where we would go back and talk to high schools. That was super influential. And it gave me some accountability because I couldn't be in front of high school students encouraging them to do something that I wasn't serious about doing. So he was major. My man, Daryl Parks, took me under his wing freshman year. And held me down all the way until I graduated from undergrad, just giving me opportunities to understand the legal space, working with him and Ben Crump over at Parks and Crump. That was super influential. And then Dr. Marsha Allen Owens, man, like, when I finished graduate school, I really didn't know what the move was. And, she's still here doing her thing. But Dr. Owens was super influential in giving me a sense of life after college. And I think I still look back now, 20 years later, you know what I'm saying, and say, if I wouldn't have gotten the Joe Briggs, the Darryl Parks, the Dr. Marsha Allen Owens relationships, I don't know if I would be sitting here having the breadth of conversation. I would probably still be sitting here.
Right.
But the ways in which I've been able to influence the museum space now, being in the consulting world and affecting that change, I saw folks like Joe and Darryl and Dr. Owens do that on a daily basis. So they were very, very influential.
So I want to speak on net checks, man. And what frivolous thing that you can remember buying with your net check or doing with your net check?
So the crazy thing, man, is I was one of those who, I had my car early. I got my car right after Thanksgiving because we were down in phase 3. I had a parking space.
Lucky.
Man, I tell you, between Jacksonville, Atlanta, Orlando, anytime I can get out of Tallahassee, the moment that check cleared, I was up at Visions in Atlanta, you know what I'm saying, buying a bottle before buying bottles were the thing, or you know what I'm saying, I was trying to sneak into the All-Star game with my net check, trying to scalp a ticket, really trying to use it to leverage a lifestyle that I couldn't afford, and that was very frivolous now that I think about it, but it was just this idea that, man, I got this money, I'm trying to do it big. I'm trying to do it big. And yeah, those are definitely some moments that, looking back now, having a son now, thinking about how he will attend FAMU, these are the lessons, these are the life lessons I'll be passing on to him. Don't take that money and run with it, bro, because you're going to have to see that on the other side.
Right, and at the same time, it didn't happen right away. We might not have got the checks on time, but when we got them, it was time.
Bro, you got that check and you felt like, that $1,500 to $2,000, man, they couldn't stop you. You was powerful, bro.
Right.
You were powerful. So
I want to ask you, Palmetto or Poking Horn?
I'm gonna have to say Palmetto. Only reason why I say Palmetto, my wife she stayed in Palmetto. So, there was just some energy down there and yeah, Poking Horn was cool, but Poking Horn was almost the projects. You know what I'm saying? The way we thought about Poking Horn, it was like, yeah, you up there, you got your own space, but y'all ain't living like we living down here, man.
Yeah. Especially phase 3.
Yeah, phase 3. We had most people coming down there to use the washing facilities, the laundry facilities. It was just a cool little spot. And the RAs were cool in phase 3. I feel.
So you met your wife in Palmetto?
I met my wife my senior year. So the crazy thing is, me and Elle knew each other from day one on campus, and just never connected, and that was probably for the best, going through that FAMU experience. But man, that was above and beyond the degrees and the experience, man. Meeting her, establishing now what we have as a marriage and a family, man. That was the most beautiful thing that FAMU could have given me. So I'm very appreciative of the university for that as well.
Right. And speaking on that, let's talk a little bit about Nixon Co, being a leader in the nonprofit world. Tell us a little bit about your firm.
So, Nixon Company is a consulting group. We work really hard to build better communities, and we do it through the nonprofit space. That's both in the museum as well as the K-12 education sectors. So what I really focus on is diversity, equity, accessibility, and inclusion. So for short, DEAI. And that's a space where we're really beginning to gain some traction as we think about making these institutions more inclusive and more welcoming of all who they are aimed to serve. Because if you don't know, a lot of your nonprofit organizations, whether you attend them or not, those are your dollars that are opening and closing that door every day. So they're publicly funded, and the work that I'm doing is really making sure that the narrative in our museums, in our schools, are rich with our lived experiences. Because when we think about, as an example, coming here to the FAMU, I have a lived experience going to an HBCU that I have to leverage in a museum space, because ultimately I know the value of our history.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, if you look at it from just the way in which it's constantly spoken, you may miss a major part of it, and that part could be the game changer as it relates to how you develop yourself, how you see yourself. So what I do in a lot of museums is I'm focused on, program and content development. I'm working on an exhibit right now, worst case scenario. Shouts out to Exhibit Design Company and Curley and Associates. They brought me on to launch the worst case scenario exhibit in Philadelphia in 2 weeks. So That's a major project. Also, working with a number of science centers, Museum of Science and History in Jacksonville, doing some strategic planning with them. So a lot of the work that I'm doing is program development, strategic planning, and really how do we make museums and nonprofit spaces more welcoming and inclusive of all, not just those who historically have attended and gained membership.
Right, and solidifying our legacy moving forward.
Absolutely.
And being a part of the culture and keeping it going.
Absolutely.
All right, so thank you, Mr. Kellen Nixon, freshman of class of 99, came in, and now we're able to give back. Any plans or any last minute shout outs for homecoming 2019?
Well, first and foremost, man, shout out to the class of 99, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to go ahead and get in my native tongue. We broke bread. You know what I'm saying? And I think, coming out of the museum space and nonprofit space, that makes the difference. When you say legacy, it starts with funding. You have to give platforms so that people can access the university in a different way. So shouts out to class of 99, you know what I'm saying? Incoming freshman class, man. Killed it. Everybody who put anything in that pocket, you know what I'm saying? Whether it was at the level in which we asked, or if it was 99 cents, it all added up to where we are today, in celebrating this major accomplishment. So, shouts out to the class, man. Just looking forward to seeing my homies, man, seeing my classmates, and you know what I'm saying, having that weekend that is reminiscent of the 20 years, man.
Yeah,
20 years.
Yeah, say it again, man. It's
20 years.
Moving forward, Black excellence and building off. And we're going to keep this FAMU, I'm Coming Home, 2019 homecoming, 90.5, DJ Zoe Crazy, Dame Dozha, Kellen Nixon of the Nixon Co Consulting Group. Thank you for being a part of this, man. Have a safe and happy homecoming.
Appreciate it, bro.
We'll see you doing big things in years to come, and God bless to you and your family. Great story, and may your son carry on that legacy whichever way he decide to go.
I received that, bro. Appreciate that, folks.
All right.
Back.